This is one of Scotland's finest mountains in the Northwest Highlands, and there are two Munros at either end, connected by a fearsome ridge with a number of pinnacles on it. And I was hoping to head here and cross this ridge, but I was a bit unsure about whether I'd be able to find a camp spot before tackling it. It's one of the ridges that is feared by many walkers, and I'll maybe talk about that later in the video. Oh, hello and welcome to Torridon. Oh, I'm absolutely knackered. I've had to run from the car because of the midges. Anyway, that is where I'm going today. Today I'm going to do a camp, something that I've wanted to do for years and years, and I've never done it, and I might still not do it, and I'll come on to that later on. But what a place, look at this. Sun's going down, there's Loch Torridon down there, and there's going to be not many bits to camera because I'm running a bit behind. It's after 6 and it's a Friday night, and the sun goes down in under 2 hours, and I've got about 1,000 metres to ascend. So let me bring you back in a wee while once I'm a bit further up, and I'll explain a wee bit more. But for now, I just need to get battered on. Let's go. Whew. Right, I am about 300 metres. I've been going for just over half an hour, and that's nothing to do with my fitness. It's because of these midges. I don't know if you can see them, they're not too bad here. I've tried to stop, there's a wee breeze. But I'm heading into the quarry soon, and I think the breeze will drop there. And also the sun's going to go away, so I thought I'd do a wee bit to camera here and explain the reason why I've never done this. I don't know if you watched my Torridon camp when I camped on one of the ridges on Ben A. I was thinking of coming here, but I kind of chickened out, to be honest with you, because I can't find any recollection or any other records of people camping here in the summer. Plenty of people in the winter, which is fair enough because there's snow cover and you can get your snow stakes in, but I know it might be a bit difficult to find a pitch. Oh, they're in my eyes. But I'll maybe explain, once I get away from these midges and up a bit, I'll explain to you the process I've used to try and find a pitch. That's if I find one. But this is just wonderful, apart from the midges. Right, I shall report back later on. Oh, let's go. Oh, giving myself an absolute pasting here, which I knew I would. If you haven't guessed already, I've not actually mentioned, I don't think, where I am. I said I was in Torridon, but I'm going up Liathach, and all I'm thinking about is this camp at the moment. But the main event is actually crossing the ridge, which, along with the Liachath and the Mullach, is probably the most fearsome ridges for hill walkers. But more about that later on. I'm about, at the moment, as I said, I'm just worried about the camp. I'm just over 600 metres, and I've come into the quarry here. If push comes to shove, I could probably get camped down there somewhere if there's nowhere up high. But it would mean dropping a few hundred metres down, because this is going to be the steepest part now, covering a short distance, but still got about 400 metres to ascend. So yeah, let's go. I've got an hour until sunset as well. The sun seems to have gone behind the clouds because it's disappeared a wee bit, but might make for a good sunset, but I'll not be able to enjoy that until I get my tent up. So let's go. I'll probably not bring you back until I get to the top here. I need to get my head down and get going. I also need to collect water, so, 'cause it's roasting. I am absolutely toasty. Right, let's go. Right, I am approaching the first spot that I was trying to scout out, which sits about 200 metres below the summit. I tell you what, if there's a flat bit of grass here or anything that's suitable to pitch, it's going to be spectacular. Just let me spin you around and show you what I'm looking at. Look at that. Absolutely stunning, isn't it? It's lovely. So just heading down this wee bit of grass down there to see if there's somewhere to pitch. And if I can get there, then it's a bit more of a hike in the morning. Behind me you can see the summit up behind me, but if I can get a spot here, I think you'll agree that's not a bad spot. And yeah, I've made it, if there's a flat bit, I've made it in time. I'll go over why I chose this bit and how I found it once I've got the tent up. Probably be dark by then. Alright, I think I've found possibly one of the best camping spots I've ever had. What a spot. It's flat and right in the edge. It's a wee bit breezier here, but that'll keep the midges away. So I'm going to get the tent set up just now, and I'll bring you back because it's going to be dark soon. Bring you back as well. What a spot though. Let's see how this works out. So as you can tell, I was pretty glad to find this spot. I really was unsure whether I was going to find somewhere to camp, because I know once you're further up the mountain the ridge narrows and there's not that many flat pieces of ground. So anyway, I set about getting my tent up before darkness took over the mountain. Right, just got the tent up. I thought I'd do a bit to camera just before the light goes. It'll probably look quite light in the camera, but the sun's gone down now, as you can probably tell. But look at this spot. I don't think this could be arguably my finest ever pitch. I'm not sure, but look at this. I mean, we've got Liathach over here. You can see the Pinnacles. I don't know if you'll be able to make them out, but the Pinnacles, which I'll be going over tomorrow, a bit of scrambling there. And Ben Alligan just looking wonderful. And then this is the view straight down. I can see down into the village of Torridon, right down. This is a grade 2 scramble. I was thinking of coming up here, but not with a big pack on. But that's one for another day. What a sensational spot though. I hope you agree. Right, I need to get all the innards on my tent, put in the bag and the sleeping bag and the mat and all that sort of stuff. But I'm sweating. I was sweating coming up here, so let's shut up. I'll bring you back in a wee while. Right, finally set up. Let's go and have a seat. What an idyllic spot. There's still a few midges kicking about, but it's getting darker and darker, as you'd expect. And you can see over to the Torridon Hotel, Ben Dam, and all the other Torridon hills, but this is the view out to sea down Loch Torridon. What a spot. And I said I was going to give you a wee overview of how I decided, well, this is the first spot. There was a few other spots that I had marked out in case this one wasn't any good, because you don't know really by looking at the map whether there's going to be anything. And as I said, I couldn't find very much about anybody camping up here in the summer, so I took the gamble, and all I did was I looked at a number of spots in the map, and then I studied lots of YouTube videos and also I typed into Google the summit and the number of different summits and the different parts of the ridges to see if I could get images, just so I could see if there's any patches of grass. I tried camping and Liathach and camping, and there was just none of tents apart from the winter, as I said before. So anyway, I saw this spot from numerous people when they were doing bits to video or summit shots from the second Munro, and you could see this spur and it looked grassy and that was the first place that I saw. I am about 200 metres below the summit, so it's ideal. It's just perfect. The view, I couldn't get much better, to be honest with you. It just means a wee bit more ascent in the morning. And the plan for tomorrow is to get up nice and early, and I'm going to head up over the first Munro, and then I'm going to go over the Pinnacles, which is one of the most amazing scrambles from memory. I've only done it once, believe it or not. I've been meaning to come back here so many times. So I'm really looking forward to that. So the plan is to get up, go over the Pinnacles and go to the second Munro. Most people will do it the other direction, east to west, but I'll be up that early. I'm hoping I won't meet too many people. And then what I'm going to do is there's a bypass path which is meant to be pretty airy in its own right. So I'm going to come back along that to see what that's like. So that's the plan of action for tomorrow. And I was also going to talk a wee bit about fear, and as you get older, does it get worse or does it get better? I'll maybe talk about that when I'm going over the Pinnacles, so I can figure out how scared I am, or if I'm just as au fait with it as I was 20 years ago when I did it for the first time. But yes, it's lovely. I don't know if you can make it behind me. That's Ben Alligan silhouetted against the western skies. I've camped up there before. In fact, I saw my first Northern Lights up there. And behind the camera, the Corbett, I can't remember what it's called, but I did a Corbett on the other side of the glen many moons ago, and it took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to find a camp spot up there because it was just rocky as hell. And the view over here was great. I eventually found a pitch, but that's what I was scared of tonight, especially with it, the timings and it getting dark. But I've been lucky and I've timed it just right. So yeah, I'm just going to take it in and enjoy this. I've got some whiskey, so I'm going to have some whiskey, some Tom and Towel tonight, and some peanuts, and hope that these midges bugger off. I'll speak to you later on. Well, I had my whiskey and then hit the sack. I was pretty tired, but I tell you what, the stars that evening were just fantastic, and I even caught a little bit of the Aurora on my time lapse. Wow, good morning. Oh, look at this. It's just glorious, the colours in the sky. It's been a lovely, lovely sun, or it's not sunrise yet, but it's yeah, dawn. The dawn colours have just been amazing, and I don't know if you can see in the camera down to the left, the fog's coming along Loch Torridon, so we're sitting above a temperature inversion, which is lovely. Ben Algen's looking great. Must admit I was up quite a few times during the night. Didn't sleep that well, and I've woken to a disaster. In my haste, everything seems to be a rush nowadays, doesn't it? But in my haste, I forgot to pack a gas canister. So I've got all my coffee, I've got my stove, got everything to go, but I don't have anything to cook it into or to boil it up in. So no coffee for me this morning. Oh no. Does that mean I'm going to be grumpy? Anyway, so I think with that in mind, I'm just going to get going. I'm going to get cracked on and try and get up on over these pinnacles. So what I'll do is I'm going to get my stuff packed up, and I'll report back when I'm at the top of the first Munro before heading down to tackle the, I don't know how you pronounce them, Anthacerian Pinnacles. That's probably not how you pronounce them, but anyway, there we go. Right, let's go. After watching the glorious dawn skies, I set about getting to the top of the first Munro, and my camp spot, as I mentioned, was a couple of 100 metres below the summit, so there was a wee bit of a trudge up some rocky slopes, but you know what, the views and the conditions were just absolutely perfect, and before long I was reaching the ridgeline. Wow, there's the top. Look at this. Woo! What a place. Well, what a place this is. And this, for many people when they do the ridge, this will be their second Munro, because the ridge is most commonly done east to west. But the reason that I've come up here first was, again, alluding back to my choices for camping. Having looked at videos, I knew there was more grass on this side, plus I really wanted to come up here for the view. I knew the view from here is spectacular. The views right along here, everywhere you look are spectacular, but this one here I think has got to be one of the best views you can get anywhere. Hopefully there's some nice footage being overlain now while I'm talking about this. It's just such a iconic scene. It's absolutely beautiful, looking over to Spidean, Leigh, which is the other Munro which I'm heading for. So the plan is I'm going to head out across the Pinnacles up to that Munro and back again. I'm not going to go right to the end of the ridge because that's just a rocky walk really. The interesting bits in between. But what a morning. It's absolutely fabulous. Let me just spin you around and show you what I'm looking at. Although you'll already have seen the view from the drone, but yeah, look at this. Absolutely wonderful. I don't really want to leave here, but the fun's about to begin when I get onto the Pinnacles, which are a grade 2 scramble. But what a place. These are the northern Pinnacles down here. You'll not be able to see them, but I'll put some footage up of those. They're slightly more tricky than the ridge itself. I've never done those either, to be fair. But yeah, let's stop procrastinating and let's start to think about how fearful I'm going to get going over these Pinnacles, and we'll talk a bit about age and fear. But what a spot. You can just see for miles and miles. This goes on and on and on, over to Liachath and over to the Fisherfield Hills, and to the south, the hills of Liathach, and down that way. Anyway, let's get moving. I've sat here long enough. This is just a stunning walk. I'm approaching the Pinnacles. I'll be there in about 10 minutes. I'll report back there, but yeah, it's just a lovely ridge, and the views are hard to beat round about here. It's just got a different feel. It's just another example of how diverse Scotland is. The landscapes in Torridon are like no other, really. Maybe Rum was similar, I don't know, but certainly different from the sprawling plateaus of the Cairngorms or the volcanic plug and mountains of Glencoe. It's got its own beauty here, and it is spectacular. So yeah, let's crack on to the Pinnacles and see if I can pluck up the courage to go over them. Whew, let's go. Look at that though. What a morning.
And what a morning it was, and before long I was approaching the first of the Pinnacles, and yeah, I don't know what it is, sometimes you can get the fear, especially if you're by yourself, but I think as I've got older, maybe it's having children, I don't know, it's maybe got a bit worse, who knows, but anyway, I was going to try and enjoy it.
Right, that's me in the first Pinnacle. Some, yeah, relatively easy scrambling there, wasn't too bad, so what a place, look at this, hopefully you can see it, it's just glorious. We've got a few more Pinnacles to go over, and I must admit there was no butterflies. It was all, once you're into it, you're just concentrating on where you're putting your hands. But is that something that I think in the past I've maybe had more fear, but not today, I don't know, not yet anyway. But there's been nothing too difficult, so I'll bring you back in a wee while. Let's go and do some more scrambling. Woo.
In these conditions, the scrambling was just delightful. It was lovely. The rock was grippy and dry. It was not wet. There was no wind. There was no ice or snow. And in between the Pinnacles, there was lovely walking, airy ridge walking with views to die for. It really was a spectacular morning in a spectacular location. What a place.
Whew. I'm nearly at the end of the Pinnacles. Just one more to go. It's been fabulous. The scrambling has been superb. It's nice and easy for that depends on your experience and what you find easy, but for me I found it just perfect. No fear at all actually. I've still got a bit to go, but what I've stopped to do a bit to camera here is there's a wee promontory here, and I've got a picture which I'll put up now, hopefully if I can find it, either of me or my brother standing on that promontory, and somebody's taking a picture over there. So I'm going to try and replicate that with the drone and see if I can get a video of me standing in the same place. So let's get the drone out and see if I can do that.
So I got the drone set up and I set about heading out onto this sort of sensational promontory. Actually, it really is something else. I mean, you see it from this angle, it makes it even more sensational when you think what lies beneath your feet. Anyway, I got set and tried to set up the shot that I'd taken over 20 years ago.
That's me now, officially on the last Pinnacle, or the first Pinnacle. Probably the hardest move coming up that one. There's a bypass path which is way further down, which I am going to take that on the way back, because it's meant to be just as hairy. But also there's certain bypass paths just skirting around some of the Pinnacles. But where's the fun in that? But look at this. Isn't it wonderful? And the fog's just sitting in the glens to the north and out to sea. It's just a beautiful day. Anyway, I got a steep pull through some boulders now, up yonder to Spidean and Leigh, and yeah, then I'll be back. I was really hoping to have a coffee when I got back to the tent, but that's not going to happen, is it? Still, can you tell I'm still a bit annoyed about that? Right, I just need to come down this bit and I'll report back in a wee while. Whew.
The main part of the scrambling was now over, but the ridge was still very narrow and a lot of care was required just as I was coming off it. This might actually be the start of the scrambling for some people if they're doing it east to west, but yeah, the 360 camera always makes it look worse, but you know what, if you were to fall here you were going to be falling a long way, so it's not a place to lapse your concentration. Anyway, that part finished, it was now the rocky climb up to the second summit of the day and the second Munro, walking on some of that really old rocks and geology. If you look into it, Torridon has some of the oldest rocks in the world. I think they're at the base of the mountain though, if memory serves me right. I might be wrong. Anyway, I was soon approaching the summit of the mountain, and it was absolutely glorious.
Oh. Right, the summit of Spidean, Leigh. Oh, I think it's about higher than the first Munro was up, but certainly a rocky peak. But what a place! What a place! Let me just, you know, I'll pick up the camera because I think I might just be silhouetted here, and let you see what I can see. It's just absolutely glorious. So yeah, the summit of Spidean, Leigh, and Liathach, which is means the grey one, I think. I can't believe I've only been here once before. I'll certainly be coming back here. Usually the route, we'll do it from east to west. You'll start out in that, where is it, about there, the easternmost summit, and then come across the bouldery slopes of this Munro, and then drop down and across the Pinnacles, which I've done up to the second Munro, which is there. That's the usual way. But yeah, I'll do a wee, let me do a wee 360 for you. Not as good as Jerry's 360s, but I'll do my best. Should have done research on the names, but if I go around here, this long ridge here's Ben Dam, and Applecross sort of peninsula behind it, and then round here, I want to say Ruastack Moor, or there's a Corbett and a Munro in there, and then these hills here are the hills which you can do. It's a horseshoe from Achnafield. I think Furthall is the Corbett there, and that one just there is the Corbett I capped on, which I was talking about, where I couldn't find somewhere to pitch. And then further around we've got Ben A. I camped somewhere around about there. I'll put a link to that video. And then round here, Vasven and Ben Gerard, and of course Ben Alligan, which I pointed out before as well. It's just lovely. Absolutely glorious. And of course you've got the wee inversion as well, which is lovely. So what a place. What a place. I've been so lucky today. I thought it'd be busy up here actually. I thought there'd be more people. Having left early, but it'd been a nice day, but I can't see anyone yet. The car parks, I can see the car park and it's full, but can't see anyone as of yet. So yeah, I'm going to have my Scotch egg here, and I'll bring you back later on. What a place. I'm in no rush, absolutely no rush. Wow. Right, I've had my Scotch egg. Scotch egg and some peanut butter, chocolate. So let's get going. Let's go and find out what this bypass path is like. Yep, you can see some people coming now, so yeah, let's leave the summit to them. Let's go.
So it was now time to descend off the summit and head back down towards this notorious bypass path, and I was kind of looking forward to this. I was almost as excited about this bypass path as I was about going over the Pinnacles themselves.
Well, that's me halfway along, I think, the bypass path. I don't know if you can see it, let me just spin you around. This is it running up here. It's sensationally exposed in places, and I wouldn't fancy doing it in the wet or if it's icy. But if you've got a steady head for heights, it's a good alternative if you don't like scrambling. Still more to go though, it really is fantastic. It reminds me, it's not quite as exposed or as special as Colley's Ledge, but it's got that kind of feel about it. Colley's Ledge is on Skurmaconic and Skye, but yeah, it's I'm glad that I did it this way, because this is almost just about as exciting as doing the Pinnacles. Fantastic, lovely. Right, I'll report back in a wee while. That's the bypass path done. Pinnacles done, fantastic. I can thoroughly recommend doing it this way, because you don't miss out on one or the other. The bypass path was just as exciting as the as the Pinnacles, I reckon. There wasn't much in it, but anyway, back up to the first Munro was on, so this is technically 3 Munros today, if you get what I mean. And you can just about see my tent actually just on the shoulder there, and the inversion below. It's lovely. So yeah, I'll not do too much filming going up here, it's just a grassy slope, but I'll bring you back when I'm at the summit of the Munro. Quick bit to camera. That's me at the second top now. I'll tell you what, I am tired. There's the cairn which I was at just at sunrise this morning, and if I spin you around you'll see the magnificent view over the rest of Liachath. Isn't that wonderful? Absolutely glorious. And around this way you've got the inversion of my tent. Don't know if you'll make it out in that wee spur down there, sitting above the inversion, so lovely. Let's head back down to the tent, get a drink, and I might have a wee rest down there, a wee snooze. I am feeling it. It's 20 to 11. Not bad for a morning's work, eh? Oh. Yeah, right, let's go there. What a day, what a day. And I'm back at the campsite. I've actually got my shoes off, and I've actually had my top off, drying and just sunbathing for, I don't know, about an hour, give or take. I even watched some paragliders take off from the just below the summit of the Munro, which was wonderful. But it's warm. Although we're into autumn now, it's probably the best weather we've had all year. Certainly we didn't have much of a summer, but anyway, what can I say about this trip? It was just fantastic. I think I'll need to check my time lapse, but there might have been a wee bit of Aurora last night. So I might have got this, and the stars were just, my God, the stars were unbelievable last night. Yeah, there was no moon, you'd seen the Milky Way. I saw quite a few shooting stars as well, and then the inversion, the cloud coming in under the inversion along the shores of Loch Torridon, and then up and over the Pinnacles, and back along that sensational bypass path. It's just been, it's almost like if Carlsberg did wild camping and hiking trips type of a day, if you know what I mean. So yeah, the tent's just it's still up. I've got everything away apart from the tent. It's just behind the camera. So I'm going to get my boots on. My socks will be nice and dry, and then laid in this big heavy backpack and put it on my back and head down to the car. So I don't think there's any point in me. I don't think I'll do any more bits to camera. I think I'm going to end the video here. So, oh, the other thing I was going to say was the whole thing about fear as well. I didn't have any fear at all today. It was relatively easy scrambling, to be honest with you, and I wasn't outside my comfort zone. So that's probably why. But sometimes I think as you get older, you do sometimes feel a wee bit more fear, don't you? But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. But yeah, this pitch has just been probably one of the best pitches I think I've ever had. Be wary though, there's not much in the way of other room for other tents up here, and if somebody's already in this pitch, there's not much up on the ridge either. So anyway, I'm going to shut up now. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next week for another adventure. Right, oh, let's get this tent down. See you next week, folks.